Podcast. Thanks for joining us tonight. Stadium Journey, as you know, is the internet leader in stadium reviews for the traveling sports fan. Check out our website, stadiumjourney.com. Follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram at Stadium Journey. You can check out this podcast and all of HIAC Talk Radio's other great content at thebradyhicks.com or look us up on VOC Nation on iTunes Radio. You can follow the HIAC Talk Radio Network on Twitter. Where else? At HIAC Talk Radio. If you'd rather watch your sports talk, I know some of you are with us on Twitter right now.
Twitch.
But all of our podcasts are also now available on YouTube for your viewing pleasure at youtube.com/danlaw83. And Stadium Journey has our own YouTube channel there.
No, never mind. You got it.
What's that?
No, you got it. Never mind.
I got everything, man.
You got it. You handled it.
Let me introduce our starting lineup. You just heard from our producer, the above-average comedian, Dan Colachico. Follow him at DanLaw83. We've got Dave Cotney with us. Follow him at ProFan9. And Mark Viquez is here. You can follow him at Ballpark Hunter. I'm Paul Baker. You can follow me at PuckmanRI. Now, 2 weeks ago, we had Peter Baxter on with us from Wilfrid Laurier University. We had a great interview with Peter. But we ended up, through no fault of Peter's, I'm not throwing Peter under the bus, we skipped our regular visit segment. And since we have literally been to all corners of the continent over the past month or so, we thought we would make it up to our loyal listeners tonight by talking about those visits and whatever else comes up during the conversation. We hope that you enjoy it. So, Mark, you talked an awful lot last week, so I'm going to give you the floor first to review all where you've been in the last 4 weeks now.
Well, yeah, I think I had just one of those massive headaches, so I didn't mind not talking. But one thing I definitely wanted to talk about last time was I went up to Fort Wayne, Indiana, did a doubleheader at the Coliseum. The afternoon game was the Purdue-Fort Wayne Mastodons basketball game, and then the nightcap was the Fort Wayne Comets. And there's never really been a night and day that I've experienced than my trip to the Coliseum, because you had about 400, 500 people at the basketball game, and then you had 9,500 people at the hockey game for the Comets. And wow, what a contrast. Fort Wayne is a hockey city in a basketball-loving state. I would put it up there with one of the best minor league hockey towns. I don't know if you guys agree with me. I know it's an ECHL market, but the Comets hold their own, and they've been doing it for about 70 years. This is a proud franchise.
All over the place, huh? They were in the original IHL.
They're in the original IHL for many, many years, and then they moved over to the, I think, Central Hockey League, United Hockey League, whatever that was called. Then the IHL came back, and now they're in the ECHL with rivals in Kalamazoo and Toledo and Indianapolis. So it's a perfect little market for them. And, you know, getting back to the Coliseum, it's about a 12,000 seat arena, but when they have basketball there, they rope everything off with a giant curtain. And the atmosphere is so vapid. And to be honest with you, the Mastodons, they have no business playing at the Coliseum. They need to go back to campus, play at their 2,300 seat arena, which from what I was told is more geared towards their men's volleyball program. You can imagine that, but they're actually pretty good. Purdue, Fort Wayne, they've made the Final Four, I think, once or twice in school history. So they recruit a lot of European players, and that might be a fun little trip to make to see them play. But, you know, 500 people in a 12,000 seat arena, you have 2 concessions open, and the arena or the Coliseum is full of wonderful concessions. The food is pizza and Asian food and Caribbean food and barbecue, anything you want. Slices of pizza, Tim Hortons coffee, Timbits. I mean, it's all there. And all that's closed for a basketball game. And I think we've all experienced the atmosphere at some place like this where everything is closed because they know they're not going to get a lot of people to the game. but they still charge you $6 to park. So definitely was happy to see a Comets game. 9,400, 500 people. The place was rocking. Toledo was in town, so you had the visiting fans with their jerseys, the Comet faithful. Just a truly awesome experience to go to a facility like that. That fan base appreciates hockey much better than it is down here in Indianapolis. I did check out another field game. I'm just questioning what the heck's going on here in Indy. The games that are heavily promoted, Nickelodeon night, or when they have like a Harry Potter night, or when it's Chicago Blackhawk night, you get a bunch of people there. You get it just like a normal Thursday night game, you get half the place full. I mean, it's not a terrible crowd. You can move around easily, but I'm just a little bit disappointed with my Indianapolis hockey fans here. I still don't like the fairgrounds as a place for hockey. It's nothing against the fuel. I would rather have them in a modern arena, maybe somewhere else in town, a little more user-friendly. You can, maybe generate some foot traffic, maybe a 4,000, 5,000 seat arena somewhere where, a little bit easier to get to. The fairgrounds, whatever you want to do to get in there, there's always some traffic jam going in and out. It's just an old facility. Nice place to see a game. Nothing against it. I'm not a big fan of the neighborhood. But for hockey, it's probably what they're going to play for the time being. And still a beautiful place to see hockey. I just wish there was a little more excitement and atmosphere there. One place where you definitely don't need any questions about atmosphere is the Hinkle Fieldhouse, home of the Butler men's basketball team. Also will be hosting Indiana Fever games for the next 2 summers. That place was rocking. They were playing Seton Hall. Butler is ranked in the AP Top 25. I don't know where they are right now, but that place was electrifying. Probably the best crowd I've seen at a game there in some time. Student section was insane. The regular fan base was out there in full drove. Seton Hall, unfortunately, played the spoiler for the night. But, man, what a majestic place to see a game. And I don't want to sit here and be a homer and say that's probably one of the most iconic places to see college basketball.
But
I'm sorry, it is. It's an amazing place. I mean, I just, you don't appreciate how awesome the Hinkle Fieldhouse is. And, just walking on the top level, you get these amazing vantage points of unobstructed views of the arena. And, you just marvel at this 90-year-old plus facility and how it's still packing the fans in, And I've been to a lot of these college venues, but I'm a little bit spoiled. I have Butler Fieldhouse down the road. I got IU about an hour. Purdue packs them in quite well. Then you got Ball State and Indiana State. They're not quite up to par, but my goodness, Butler Fieldhouse. It's just such a marvelous space to see a basketball game. And Butler usually puts on some pretty good shows. So, the fan base is there. I would hate to see Butler kind of, hit rock bottom, what the crowds would be like. But, when you're battling some of the best of the Big East, which now includes Rutgers and Seton Hall, it's kind of nice to root for the home team. So I had a lot of fun at the Hinkle Fieldhouse, and I always bump into somebody there too. Everybody's a Butler fan. You either went to Butler, or you can get tickets. The tickets are like $25 too. They're not that expensive for a lot of games. I guess if IU comes to town, those tickets will probably ask for a pricely sum. But yeah, one place I definitely suggest going, the Hinkle Fieldhouse. You can go to you can go out to Kansas. Duke is amazing to see as well, but I really enjoy going there when I get the chance. And I wish I was a college basketball fan. I'd probably be there a little more often.
Yeah, Hinkle usually makes people's top 20 lists when they do that.
Yeah.
So deserved, it sounds like.
Dave.
Mm-hmm.
So you said the Fever are going to be playing there the next couple summers?
Yes.
Is that because the was it Bankers Life Fieldhouse now?
Yes, it's getting
$350.
Yeah, renovations. So they chose the Fieldhouse, which I'm kind of curious what that would be like, because they could have went to the Coliseum over at the fairgrounds. But
do you think there's any chance that they find it to be overly successful and they try and stay there a little bit more permanently?
I hope so. I think the average crowd for a Fever game, based on information I've gotten back from their PR guy and a couple other sources, it hasn't been the same since their championship years. Tamika Catchings was a huge player, very popular here in the city, did a lot for a lot of the schools as well with making special appearances. Her retirement was a huge hit, and of course the team has not been playing as well as they did. So a smaller venue, probably a little bit less to rent, would be ideal for them. It's interesting to see because a lot of WNBA teams have left their NBA counterpart homes. You know, New York Liberty left where they were playing. Seattle left due to renovations as well. And I believe Atlanta, the Atlanta Dream, are looking for a new place to play. I'm not quite sure where they picked, but I think that's just sort of a growing trend in the WNBA and probably one out of necessity based on rental fees, especially when you renovate a facility. That the cost of rent probably does go up quite a bit.
Well, that could be a good, to me, it could be a good growth point because, I mean, we all know, 5,000 in a 7,000 seat arena is far better than
Definitely
8,000 in a 18,000 seat arena. So, you bring in, you start creating that atmosphere, and it just feels better to be there. And then, maybe you make that step back into the big venue.
Yeah, I think what you can do, you can play your home games, maybe some big events you play over in the Bankers Life downtown. I mean, the only thing Bankers Life probably has the marquee neighborhood, but the neighborhood around Butler within a few miles isn't too bad. You're close to some great local restaurants. You're at Sobro, we call it South Broad Ripple, Sobro for the nickname. So you're not too far from some, a pleasant neighborhood. It'd be a different scenery for sure, and maybe it brings in a different crowd that wants to go see the game due to the fact that they are playing in Hinkle.
Right.
So we'll wait and see. I'm looking forward to it. I'll probably be there this summer to check out a game or two. So I'll let you guys know all about it when that time comes. So another NBA arena that received a lot of renovation, well, not a lot, but a new video board was United Center. They have a giant video board that is about 4 times larger than the old one. There was nothing wrong with the old one. They just wanted to have a giant arena like every other NBA, NHL arena. And this thing has like a little... Yeah, exactly. Everywhere you go, there's a giant scoreboard, video board hanging. It looks almost out of place in these buildings. But, the Rock in New Jersey received one. The Pacers received one a few years ago. They're all in a very unique and different design. I'm really waiting for someone to come out with a video board that just does not look like your standard video board. I don't know when that time's going to come, but it's going to probably come sometime this decade. But the one in Chicago has this halo board underneath the 4 main panels that it's quite something to see when you're directly under it. Just wish they had a better team. They're about 19 and 33 at the moment, and everybody you talk to will always harken back to the Chicago Bulls era in the 90s and say it doesn't matter what they do to this place, that's going to bring the excitement back. So you got faithful up there, but man, they were spoiled. They were spoiled like Patriot fans were spoiled the last few years. So yeah,
and
it's
the Super Bowl was weird, Mark.
The what?
The Super Bowl was weird without the Patriots being in it this year.
It was enjoyable without the Patriots. I mean, even the AFC Championship game was enjoyable without the Patriots. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay if you lose, if you don't play in the Super Bowl one year. You'll survive. Some of us have never seen our team in the Super Bowl. I don't know what that's like.
It's pretty awesome.
I'm waiting for that day to come. There's like a 3-year-old Kansas City Chief fan. He has seen his team win a Super Bowl before me. So, good Lord. And then to wrap up some of my other trips, high school basketball once again. It's Indiana, and it's what I like to do. I went to Franklin High School. They have a modern gym, sits about 2,700. Nothing special, but you can tell there's a little bit of money into this school because when you walk in, everything is very elegant. They have like a walk of fame, and they have two concession stands that look very premier. They have ticket booths. The seats are all plastic and blue, and everything's nice and shiny in there. Beautiful lighting. Great place to take pictures. I love when I go someplace and I can just sit anywhere and take a different picture, no matter where I'm sitting, and then debate what picture I want to use. So that was Franklin High School Grizzlies, and they're known here in Indiana for the championship teams. They had a team that won the championship from 1921, 22, and 23. All five of those guys went to Franklin College, and they won two more championships at their level. So they won 5 in a row. They call them the Franklin Wonder Five, and they're so popular. They have books about them. They have their own website. There's even a marker in town. So that's one thing I like about high school basketball here. It's like, here's a team from 100 years ago that did something pretty amazing and special, and there's records of it. There's a website. There's a Twitter page of it. It's like they're not forgotten. They're still talked about, and people still love them. Another high school gym I went to was just up north of Franklin, the Whiteland Warriors. I went to Roy Glenn Gym, one of the few gyms that are named after somebody. Not a spectacular gym, but built around 1957, 58. Sits about 4,000 people. Just another typical gym of the late 1950s here in Indiana. Nice little crowd. One thing I did find interesting was, since they're called the Warriors, when the team gets introduced, they do the tomahawk chant, which was kind of weird. I don't think I've ever been to a sporting event when somebody did the tomahawk chant. I don't remember if they did it in Atlanta when I went to a Braves game. They probably did. I just ignored it. And I've never been to a Chiefs game, so to hear that, and you're like, wow, that's kind of weird. Warriors, we're still doing the chant. Like, seriously, guys, can you go back to your original name called the Wrens? And they got, the Native American imagery all over the place. And I don't know. That's up for debate, but at the same time, I don't know. Warriors, I don't like that whole concept myself, but that's just me. And then another high school gym I went to, very small gym, the West Side High School Admirals. They play in an old armory. This place was never meant for basketball, but they made it into a basketball gym. And there's barely any seats. Most of the seats are above the court. And what makes this place really special is that there's a bunch of pictures and photos and paintings of marine depictions of soldiers and ships and portraits. So it's a very, very odd place to play basketball. It has an Art Deco feel to it. It's a pretty place. It's just not a lot of room for seats, not a lot of fans there. It's a small school, but definitely worth checking out if you're looking at high school basketball gyms. But probably not one I would recommend. But it just happened to be nearby, and I had nothing to do on a Tuesday night, so I checked that out. So a lot of basketball, some more basketball to come, and this weekend, still more basketball. But I'll tell you more about that after the show.
So everyone from that last high school that Mark kind of put down, send your hate mail to Ballpark Hunter, not the podcast itself.
Yeah, send it to me. I hope people send it. It'll prove that people are watching it, so or listening, whatever.
All right, that's a busy month, Mark.
It's one of those weeks where everything just lined up, where I can do a Tuesday game, a Thursday game. And I didn't even talk about University of Indianapolis. I went to a game there. Nice gym, Division II, hidden little treasure here in Indianapolis. So I got reviews of most of those facilities up on the site. Check them out when you get the chance, stadiumjourney.com.
Definitely good stuff, too.
Forgot about that. Been to so many places, I keep forgetting where I went to.
I forgot where I went.
Oh,
hey,
yeah,
I have to write it down every week or I forget too. So I know your struggle.
Yeah, and there's some days I don't go to any place. It's like, oh, where have we been? Nowhere. So
I don't know what that's like. Speaking of going to a lot of places, Mr. Cotney, you've been to a place or two yourself, eh?
Eh? Yeah, in Canada, eh? Been to a couple places.
We don't say E.
Hey.
Okay.
Yes, we do all the time.
I know. My ex-girlfriend said, we don't say that. Stop making fun of us.
Oh, no, we totally do.
Yeah, we do. Own up to it. Yeah.
Yeah, eh?
Be proud.
That's right. So, yeah, it's rivalry hockey game time up here in U Sports. So, Laurier was in a couple of them. So, just last week, we had the Frosty Mug. Paul, your favorite U Sports game. You got to get there. Tickets are hard to come by. They broke the record again. So the Sleeman Center holds about 4,700. Somehow they fit in 4,900. And the last 5 years, they keep breaking their
fire code.
Yeah, they keep breaking the record. Actually, one of the things they did is they roped off the bottom row. The one right up against the glass because they had security down there. So the students are a little rowdier than for your average Guelph Storm game, I guess. But a great time, loud. Oh my gosh, and totally one-sided. I mean the University of Guelph students really packed the place. I actually did a review of it. It's on the site. You can check it out. Paul, you got to let me know if the Sweet Caroline was up to Beantown standards. I know it's not like 35,000 at Fenway or anything like that, but almost 5,000, and they were really belting out.
Can we talk about Sweet? We need to get rid of it. It's played out. It's over. Red Sox. If you're listening, Red Sox, please. Nobody sings it except the out-of-towners now. Or the Pink Hats. Get rid of it. We're done with it.
Yeah, but that's kind of like being an Italian and saying, we're tired of this leaning tower. We got to get rid of it. Nobody here looks at it. It's just all the out-of-towners.
Well, I would just be happy with some ball clubs or sports teams come up with their own songs. Kind of like in the English Premier Soccer League. I mean, everybody has their own song that they sing, and some of these songs date back from the 50s and 60s, just like Sweet Caroline.
Yeah.
I don't know why we have to play that specific song at every sport venue outside of Boston. And every time I go someplace, I hear it, and I'm like, dang, they're playing it.
Well, in Guelph, they hit 3 in a row. So they did Sweet Caroline, and the students are all dancing and singing, and it's super loud. And then they do Mr. Brightside, which I guess is a big one in some of the colleges in the States. It's
great song.
Yep.
It's a great song. I'm just not sure why that one. Like, I know Sweet Caroline became huge at Fenway and whatnot
because of the great lyrics in it.
But anyway, after they played those two, they played "Take Me Home, Country Roads," which was hilarious because that's the Laurier song. And all of these students from Guelph are belting out "Take Me Home, Country Roads." And it was fantastic. I was sitting there with my buddy who's also Laurier alumni. And it was, he was just as confused as I was. Why are they so excited about this? It's funny.
It's funny, like you're talking about how songs get a life of their own. At the Beanpot the other day, and at many Northeastern hockey games I've been to, Stacy's Mom is the song that all the kids want to play. And the band will start playing it, and when the band stops, when the game starts, the kids continue singing the whole song. So you get Stacy's Mom going on through the whole thing. You were watching part. I don't know if you heard it.
Yeah, we at the Jays, they've been trying to find a signature song. And I think they would love for it to be a Rush song. They just can't find it yet. They're having a hard time with it. But really, what makes that signature song? The crowd belting it out.
Yep.
It's really that simple. Anyway, after the Frosty Mug, Laurier has continued their winning ways. They're actually ranked for the first time nationally in like 10 years, which is which is pretty amazing. It was the Battle at the Odd, another rivalry game. So this is against Waterloo, but it's really in its infancy still. It's in its 4th year, and we're still at that 1,700 fan mark, which is not nearly as big as the Frosty Mug, which is, knocking on the door of 5,000. But still, it's 7 times what they would get at a normal game. So even though it looks pretty empty, it's still way more than a normal game. So, here's hoping that it just keeps going and just keeps getting better. Visited some Laurier basketball and Waterloo basketball as well. Waterloo's still putting together a reno in their gym, and it's been a couple years now, but you're starting to see a little bit of results, but it's taken its time. Hit the Raptors, Scotiabank Arena. Saw Lloyd Brown as he came up north. Brought probably our coldest weather we've had in a while, and he's trying to hit Club 123.
I think he's trying to do it in one season, Dave.
Well, I don't think he's going to get it all in one season. I think the football is a little bit of a challenge for him, but yeah, he's probably going to have to slow down after a weekend in Toronto where you're buying Leaf tickets for one day and Raptors tickets for another day, and yeah, it's probably a little bit later on the pocketbook after that.
You can get press credentials if you can. I always tell him.
No, he can't, because the dude who runs Toronto won't let him.
They won't let him. Yeah, you do run into that. Well,
this dude is getting the press
he had
credential.
the same problem in Boston. He's coming here in a few weeks.
Well, he was in Vancouver. I saw his Vancouver. So maybe he doesn't get the passes to some cities. Maybe he offsets it with, the random Vancouver one. I don't think we have a guy out there, right?
I think we just got
a Seattle guy now.
Seattle guy. Well,
your buddy.
But Lloyd doesn't like the press box.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. Yeah. Yeah. And Washington, I contacted them about something. They didn't get back to me. So I hope they're not sniffing their nose at us. That's okay.
So had a weekend in Michigan. This was I was supposed to go away with my wife, and then she hurt herself running a race in Jacksonville, and she was supposed to hit the outlet mall at Birch Run, and he's like, nope. on my plantar fasciitis
that
foot,
must have been serious, Dave.
Not doing the outlet mall. So she stayed home, and Jackson came with me, and we hit a couple venues. So we hit McGurk Arena in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, which is the home of the Central Michigan Chippewas. So Mount Pleasant, college town, in the MAC, and you got to love MACtion. And, Mark, you were talking about the high school. That's the Warriors with the indigenous names and the tomahawk chop and all that. Well, Central Michigan, the Chippewas. Chippewas is also an indigenous name, but they have a very, very strong relationship.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
With the Saginaw Chippewa Indian tribe of Michigan, and that's what they actually call themselves. So they got that clearance from the NCAA when the NCAA said, you all have to change them, and some of them got clearance like Florida State and Central Michigan, and then some of them had to change, like Arkansas State and other ones like that. North Dakota, yeah. North Dakota was probably the biggest challenge in the whole thing, and lasted the longest. But
not to interrupt you, but that high school team I went to, Whiteland, they used to be called the Wrens up until 1939, and then they just decided to change their name. How cool would it be to just go back to that name, Wrens? I can't think of any other high school or college having that name.
As in
the
very bird?
Unique. The bird. It'd be a very unique identity. I think someone should have thought about that a few years ago, and I don't know. Maybe I'm getting too PC, but the history is there. You could call yourself the Wrens because that's what you were called 81 years ago. I don't know why you had to switch to the Warriors. I think Wrens is a better name for a team. Or call the Warriors and get rid of the Native American imagery. That's a warrior can be anything.
in the midst of the Redskins stuff, right?
Mhm.
I saw it turned out to be fake. But I saw a great render of a name change and a logo change for the Redskins, and it was the Red Hawks,
Mm.
and it looked awesome. Kept the colors. You slightly altered the logo, got rid of the face. It was just wings, and it looked sweet. And I know it would never pass because, God forbid, Dan Snyder does anything decent by his team either way or by his fans. That's another conversation for another time. But I don't care because I hate Washington. The Washington. I don't care in that way. It's like whatever. It is racist, but I don't care. I'm not going to write blogs about it and freak out about it. However, I really liked this render. It kind of pissed me off that nobody would even kind of look at it. Like, I mean, this is kind of awesome. It's kind of badass. But no. It must be an Indian. It must be a Native American. Okay.
Alrighty then.
Listen, people don't
Yeah.
like change. I know that for a fact because I come from a divorced family. Change sucks. So I get it. But
Well, they changed the name in 1939. Just changed the name in 2020. There you go.
well,
Not like the precedents hadn't been set before. Okay,
that there you go.
That's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
that is nice.
That's badass looking.
The red
I've-
storm, the orange.
I thought that was awesome. It's like you could get you got the rivalry with the Eagles right up the road, so you got two birds. I don't know. It just seemed awesome to me, and I brought it up to a friend, Paul. And it was like, no, it's fake. I'm like, I know it's fake, but it's still you can't change it. I'm like, okay.
What the ultra woke person we both know doesn't want to change their racist team name?
Moving on.
So here's one that's a little different. We got a high school around here. It's a rural high school. It's around farming communities and small towns and whatnot. And they are the Crusaders, and have been in the Crusaders forever. And they are now changing their name from the Crusaders to something else. They haven't decided yet, but yeah, it's one thing when you're an all white kind of rural school
Dude.
as the Crusaders to head into the inner city and play a multicultural team.
What was the junior team in the 80s or 90s that had how do I say this? It had a Middle Eastern man, a caricature drawn on the
Prince Albert, was that it?
the print. Was it? Yeah, but what was the name of the team? Because the team name.
Raiders.
Yeah, it was the Raiders, and they had a very
So
unflattering caricature of a Middle Eastern man written on the drawn on the jersey, and even if you look at it now, you're like, oh God, why? Look, that's bad. That's like Big Teeth Cleveland Indians bad. Like, so terrible.
ooh, that opens a can of worms. Talking to someone from Cleveland about the
Yeah, I
Chief
don't
Wahoo
care.
logo.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't
Well,
care.
so they-
Chief Wahoo's
they
stupid and
got-
it's racist.
They got so mad about Chief Wahoo being removed from the Indians that when there's a mustard that they make in Cleveland that is specially designed for the Indians, they took Chief Wahoo off the mustard label, and fans said, "I'm never buying this mustard again."
Yeah, you will.
And the company said, "You know what? We had to, or we would have lost our trademark. So screw you guys."
Yeah, and they'll buy
There
it.
you
go.
No, there's one that's even more offensive. When Kelly comes home, I'll Now again, I say offensive. I don't waste my time writing letters and writing end on something.
Oh,
You found it? Oh, you found it.
Found
Here
it.
it is.
That's it. There you go.
Whoa.
Oh man. That's
I've never
terrible.
seen that before.
I've never seen
Oh!
this logo before.
Oh.
I
Oh
didn't know
my
there was
God.
ice in the desert.
Oh, it's so bad, and it
You
just
never hear about that logo. You never hear about this logo being
yeah,
one of the
because
most
they go.
offensive
You
things.
know who brought it to my attention? Kelly. We talked about it when we on an old episode of Obey the Puck. We talked about it, and it was like the worst logo. She's like this one, and even I looked at it, and I was like, "Oh my, who okayed that?" There's an old okay. Get this one, guys, and then I'll shut up, Dave.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
And I never, by the way, I never made the promise I wasn't going to say. There's the whole
Or
logo, guys.
Cooperalls.
There you go.
Cooperalls.
Oh, I love Cooperalls.
Okay, so listen.
He's wearing Cooperalls.
Okay, so in
trendsetter.
WCW at the end of '95, there was a terrible storyline between Hulk Hogan and the Dungeon of Doom. Blah 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 blah. It's the same guy that played Zeus in the WWF. It was in the No Holds Barred movie. I know you guys have heard of that movie at least. Okay.
Zeus Lester.
Yeah, Zeus. Exactly. There you go. Yeah. All right, get it off the screen. We've seen it enough. It's terrible. So he comes back on Nitro in 1995 with another guy behind him. Big, huge dude. So Zeus is called Z-Man, and the big old white guy is called, get this, the Final Solution. Does anybody get that reference? It's what it was called in Nazi Germany with the eradication of the Jews.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Here's the best
Yeah,
part.
it-
Here's the best parts. Not only did it get changed to the Ultimate Solution the next week, but here's the PS. 20 years later, this got greenlit on CNN through Turner, Time Warner, and everything. It got greenlit. 20 years later, the WWE Network debuts. Guess what didn't get edited out?
Ooh, boy.
Here's the even better part. 22 years later, it's not there anymore. It's gone.
Yeah.
It's all the graphics are edited out. The segment still happens. Every reference to that is erased. Somebody was like, "That sounds good. We should use that." No.
You know what? You saw right here. 4 of us did. 75% of us didn't know what that meant, but
Yeah.
one person does, and that's all you need. Just
You
one
know,
person.
dude,
Yeah.
I remember that specifically from textbooks. It's like, and I saw that as a kid going, even as a kid when it aired live, I was like, ooh, oh, they went there with it? The next
But
week
see,
it was
here's
gone.
the problem. You bring that up, and somebody goes, yes, be quiet. I don't want to hear it. That's no big deal. Nobody
Wow.
knows. Kind of like with the Super Bowl halftime show.
Well, like I said,
Everybody's complaining about
I didn't,
Shakira and Jennifer Lopez wearing scantily clad clothing. Well, what do you think they were going to come out with? Handmaid tale.
hold on.
outfits?
I have a perfect response to that. You want to know what the response is? The NFL cheerleaders. Shut up.
Yeah,
Move on.
that's it.
Adam
Move
Levine
on,
last
so.
year taking all his clothes off too.
Oh, I didn't even watch the halftime show because I can't stand Maroon 5.
I
wish
just-
it'd go away.
By the
and
way,
become unpopular.
by the way, I just want to be clear. I had no problems with either halftime show.
Okay. Well,
You know. Go ahead,
got
Dave.
the
Take the
power
show
to
back up.
watch. Power to
Take
shut it off.
Take
Come back to Central Michigan.
What's going on in Central Michigan?
So, the favorite sons of Central Michigan, there are 2. Dan Thunder Marley
That's right.
and
Who?
I like Dan Marley, but this guy totally eclipses Dan Marley. Dick Enberg. They actually have a bronze statue of Dick Enberg in the
And rightfully so.
yeah, so that's really cool. I guess Dick Enberg went to Central Michigan. Who knew? Strange. It's a strange spot. I mean, it's okay. The lighting is really weird. It's almost like that Laker lighting, where they only like the stands are dark and everything's on the court, but they don't have like the right kind of lights. It's like spotlights. I don't know. I didn't care for the lighting in there, but anyway. After that, we drove to Big Rapids, Michigan, which is north of Grand Rapids, and is the home of Ferris State University and the Ferris State Bulldogs. So they are one of these I think they're Division 2, but they're Division 1 for hockey. And they play at I've been practicing this, the Ava Glaben Ice Arena. Ugh, it's a tough
You
one.
sure about that?
1976 it was built, and that's totally a hockey bunker. Low roof, kind of flat. It was a little bit disappointing because the students weren't really out in full force. Small venue, 2,500. It would be awesome for like a Michigan Tech game or Northern Michigan or one of their rivals. It'd be amazing there. But it was fun. Got to sit with we were sitting in the parents section, so we were sitting with the captain, Nate Callan. We were sitting with his dad, and he is from San Diego, the hotbed of college hockey, San Diego. But anyway, we had a good time there, and yeah, the only other thing was I hit the Toronto Rock for an updated review. The Rock gave the Halifax Thunderbirds their first ever loss, so that was kind of fun. And Paul, I know you're going to talk about this probably a little bit, but it was a little bit odd. They had the moment of silence for Kobe, and there was like a bunch of stuff like memorialize or like not just flowers. I mean, there was flowers in front of Scotiabank Arena, but like people had put shoes and basketballs and all that. That's fine and whatever. I was surprised because, Kobe's connection to Toronto is that he put up 81 on the Raptors once, and other than that, there's not much, especially with lacrosse. So it really sort of went across sport lines for sure. So, but that was my ventures. Not too far for 4 weeks, but a few good ones.
That's right. You had done your big trip right at like a month ago.
Yes, and I got another big one coming up.
Hey, spring break?
No, it's Family Day weekend.
Oh, okay.
But I got March break coming up after that. So.
But just getting back to Kobe, I was talking to a coworker of mine, and I said, I don't think I've ever experienced one person dying that has garnered so much attention from all walks of media, sports, teams he didn't play for, people that weren't basketball fans, the Grammys, news coverage worldwide, cities lighting up their buildings in purple, their bridges in purple. I've never experienced that with one single person in my life. 9/11 would be the closest where I've had that somber moment, but everything about Kobe now. He was a Catholic. He went to mass. They found him dead, wrapped around his arms of his child. I don't know if that's true. I think any parent would want to do that.
False report.
You hear, you're hearing so much about him, and you wonder what is true, what is not. He's becoming very mythical now. So I can see Halifax, just being part of the tribute to Kobe, just because that's what you do with someone like his statue passing away at a very young age.
Well, it's Toronto, not Halifax. But...
Oh, Toronto. Well, yeah, exactly. And there's no connection. Just like I think Louisville had their bridge in purple. Now, I think the bridge is purple to begin with, but they had it lit up in purple in honor for him. And I'm like, well, what's his connection to Louisville? What's his connection to Chicago that had it lit up? It's Indianapolis. I don't know if they did anything for him, but there's just a guy with no connection to your city, yet they're honoring him because that's what you do. I've never seen it before. We'll hopefully never see it again.
Yeah, we were actually, and I'll get into this, like you said, Dave, we were in the middle of this being in LA last week, and we were trying to think of another person, another sports figure in any city that would elicit that kind of response, even within their own city. I'm not talking nationwide. And I thought back to when David Ortiz was shot this summer. And would Boston have reacted the same way LA reacted last week? I don't think they would have. I don't think it would have been that. It would have been, I don't know if it would have taken everything like it did in LA.
Different era. If it would have happened now, I think Roberto Clemente would have been that guy.
Yeah, I can see that. Or Jackie when he passed.
Well, he passed away after his career, though, didn't he?
He was 53, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, definitely Roberto Clemente. I can see people doing that.
And his death was just as tragic, and he was going back
Right,
to
sudden and unexpected. Right.
Yeah, he was going back to help out his
Nicaragua.
country and do some mission work and whatnot.
Yeah, it was an earthquake had hit Nicaragua, and he was flying aid over there because there had been reports that some of the aid was not reaching the victims and was being stolen. So he wanted to make sure that didn't happen. So that just tells you all that you need to know about Roberto, who also tragically died in an air crash. And you're right; they probably would have had the same appeal. There are talks about retiring his jersey across the border of baseball. I know Hartford retired his jersey. If you go to the Yard Goats game stadium, his numbers up there with Jackie. So yeah, it's just something I never experienced before. And I could see if Michael Jordan died young. I can see if LeBron died young. I can see if Tiger Woods were to die young. Those guys would probably get the same treatment as well.
Yeah, it was amazing to it was staggering, really, to be in the middle of that in Los Angeles last week and just to see how it cut across every facet of life. You couldn't put on a TV station or a radio station without them talking about Kobe. And I'm no Kobe Bryant fan. I mean, he wore the wrong colors, and he didn't exactly live a squeaky clean life. So I don't want to disparage him either, but it was amazing just to hear how the whole city, expressed their grief in a very public way.
If you wanna read about Kobe, Paul's article on the site now is excellent.
Well, I don't really talk about Kobe. I just talk about how the city reacted.
Yeah, no, excellent article.
Thanks.
I mean, did you see a lot of murals going? Did you see a lot of murals going up? Because that's another thing I've seen. A lot of cities are painting murals of him and his daughter.
Well, I'll get into it as I talk about my travels because it was a big part of my experience out there. So, Dave, you're all set with your travels?
Yeah, I'm all good. You're up.
You're up.
Okay, so I'll get into my
Mr. Hollywood.
Yeah, literally for part of it. 2 weeks ago, I didn't have any new places to talk about, so I will just jump into my big trip. Pam and I went out to California. Initially, the major part of our trip was the AHL All-Star Game, which was held in Ontario this year. I'll talk about that real quick. Aside from the game that they held in Atlantic City, this was the most disappointing All-Star Game I've been to.
Oh, it came across on TV too. It was just there.
Yeah.
Was attendance that bad?
The Toyota Arena, not Toyota Center. That's a different place. Holds about 11,000, so it's about the same size as the Dunkin' Donuts Center in Providence. Very nice arena. I would actually put the facility itself as my second favorite AHL arena, and I've been to 30 of them.
Wow.
And I've been to 30 of them. It was a really, really nice arena. Modern, bright, seats were very comfortable. We were actually in not the very last row, we were in the next to last row. So we were surfers.
You could have moved.
We could have moved down. But great views, even from the top. Good food selection. Little difficult to get around, but not so bad that it was a problem. Decent food offerings. Just a really nice, modern, clean arena. It's about 10 years old, I think. So it was a nice place to have the game. But an event like the All-Star Game, especially in the minor leagues, depends on all the fans from all the different cities coming together. Not a lot of people came to Ontario. Not even a lot of the West Coast fans. There was a huge contingent of San Diego Gulls fans, but nowhere else. I saw a handful of Tucson, a handful of Bakersfield, a couple of Stockton fans. Just nobody traveled. And then the Eastern, you saw, probably 50 fans from the eastern half of the country at this game.
Jesus.
So it was a very lackluster crowd. And the home crowd, usually when you're at an All-Star game, it's friendly because you're not rivals at this event. It's fun. Dan, you and I have gone to an All-Star game together.
Yeah.
And everybody mingles and gets along, and thanks for coming, and it's great to see you. You came a long way. How was
Absolutely. Yep.
the folks in Ontario didn't say boo to any out of towners. Like you guys, Pam and I were there in our Providence jerseys. Wow, you guys came all the way from Providence, man. That's great. Thanks. So what are you doing while you're out here? None of that. We saw all our old friends from Hershey. We saw our old friends from Wilkes-Barre. We saw, we saw some folks from Chicago that we knew from all of our travels, and that's who we talked to. Not a single Ontario fan welcomed us, and that was kind of disappointing.
Is that because you? Did they throw food at you, like in Philly?
No, they weren't rude, but they were just standoffish. It wasn't, and there were no events. An All-Star game has events. They have a Hall of Fame induction. They have all kinds of different things where people can gather and be social. There's usually a post-game party where you can mingle. There was none of that this year. Yeah, Dave.
Do you think that's because they're kind of noobs to the league?
I think so. I think so. So I mean, the event was the same as the event always was, but just very lackluster in the presentation. It wasn't. I didn't have a bad time. I don't want to come across saying that, but it was just not the event that it usually is. I'll put it that way. But the Toyota Arena is a fantastic facility, and it's always great to go to a hockey game in shorts.
What says hockey than a pair of shorts and sandals?
Exactly. So actually, before we went to the Ontario games, we actually went to a college basketball game that was the biggest surprise of our trip. And we flew across country, arrived in LA, 4 o'clock LA time. And we went to a Cal Baptist University basketball game. Cal Baptist plays in neighboring Riverside, which was about a 20-minute drive from Ontario. So Stadium Journey had never been there. So I said, you know what, I'll take one for the team. Yeah. Let's check out this place. Was expecting, your typical small college gym like I usually see out here in New England. Man, was I wrong. This place, the CBU Event Center, was fantastic.
Wow.
It's only 3 years old. They built it in 2017. It's brand new, sparkling, shiny. The campus itself is very different looking. Now, when you think college campus, what kind of buildings do you think of?
I think of,
I don't know.
Princeton.
Gothic architecture, Gothic. Bricks. All these are in the Pueblo Revival, so they look like Southwestern style. All the buildings, the dorms, there's stores, all the classroom buildings, they're all the Southwestern, what is it, limestone, whatever that is, whatever that material is made out of. Everything there is made out of that. It's a very attractive campus.
Wow.
So
you're pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
Now,
yes.
I always enjoy that. I like when I go someplace I'm not expecting much, and then boom, I get smacked in the face with that wow, like where am I? This is awesome. Let me look around. Yep. So that's good to see that those places still exist. Is this Division 1 or Division 2?
They're just stepping up from Division 2. They're in the Division 2. They were in the Elite 8, I think, 5 seasons in a row. Decided let's move up. They're going to join the West Coast Conference or the Western Athletic Conference.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I don't remember now. But yeah, they're stepping up to Division 1, and I think they're eligible for the tournament in 2022.
Now, did you have this plan, or did it just happen to work out that way?
Well,
did you know about this?
We said if our travels work out, we'll do it. We'll see how we feel. So it wasn't a definite. The arena itself, you go into this. There's this free parking garage right next to the arena. Everybody parks in this garage. Walk out of the garage around to the front of the arena. They've got this giant patio plaza with a big bronze statue of their nickname is the Lancer. So it's a knight on a horse with the lancing stick. Right in front, all lit up, palm trees, tables, chairs. Very nice place to hang out before the game. Of course, Southern California, so you can do that.
Yeah.
You walk into this beautiful lobby. It's got a nice new pro shop. Climb up a couple of stairs on either side of the lobby to a walkway, then it circles the court, and you walk down into your seats. It's only a 5,000-seat arena, so it's the right size. There was about 4,000 people the night we were there, but just really nice place taking a game, good atmosphere. The student section, instead of being on the end of the arena, takes up the whole side, so that was nice. That was a little different. So, yeah, there's something to be said. Like you were saying before, having the right size arena, not playing in a place that's too big, not playing in a place that's too small.
No, it makes a huge difference. Coliseum, I wanted to turn around and leave. It was like, man, place is dull. Okay, enough insults to them.
All right, so that was Cal Baptist. We talked about the Ontario Reign. Okay, now the helicopter crash with Kobe took place on Sunday morning. We were originally going to go out and see the Lakers, the Kings, and the Clippers back to back to back while we were out there. Looked up Laker tickets for this game, $200 a pop minimum. There was no way that if I paid $200 for a ticket that I was going to end up going back with Pam. So the Lakers got canceled off. But after the reason I bring this up is because if once Pat came down about Kobe, I checked the secondary market for tickets. They jumped up to a minimum I'm talking now, $1,200.
So you could profit.
No, I just want to say something because I saw a little contrary comments to this about your post about how bad tickets were. There is no reason to fleece people that want to pay tribute to Kobe Bryant to go to that game and make them pay $1,200 for you to profit. That is making a profit off of a death. You're a dickhead. I'm not editing that out. I'm leaving that in. That is a terrible mindset. Good for you. They want to make a profit. Of course they go that much. No. In that situation, be a decent human being. Based on, people got to deal with Ticketmaster on a regular basis. They got to kick, scratch, and claw and beg to basically go see their favorite band. We don't need you schmucks charging 15 times the rate to go pay tribute to somebody who just passed away. You're an a-hole if you did that. I just wanted to be clear about that. I saw that conversation. I was like, no, that's a bunch of bull crap. Don't do that. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
And yeah, that was my point of it. It was an awful thing to do. People were just taking advantage. And that was minimum prices. So I can imagine what some of the good seats were going for.
Unbelievable.
And they ended up canceling the game.
Yeah, which they should have done anyway.
So those poor people who paid all these money for tickets, screwed, because you're not getting your money back.
Unreal.
So we ended up, going to the Kings game the next night. Oh, actually, because we didn't go to the Lakers game, we went to a show taping. So I am Mr. Hollywood. We went and saw Last Man Standing being taped.
Oh, how's that going?
It's a stupid show. But
yeah.
It was cool to experience. That was pretty fun.
Yeah, I got to experience the great show Jesse with Christina Applegate back in 1999. So it's amazing how many times they redo stuff over and over and over again.
And you got to laugh every time.
It was fun. Yeah.
Outside of wrestling, I haven't seen a live TV taping of anything.
Yeah.
Or sporting event too. Anyway.
So that was interesting. So the next night on Wednesday, the Kings ended up being the first sporting event in Los Angeles at the Staples Center. So we headed downtown a little bit early to go check it out. Now, have any of you guys been to the Staples Center before?
Yes.
Okay. So you know the setup. It's got the big plaza, the Xbox Live Plaza, right across the street. Mm-hmm. That place has turned into a giant Kobe memorial.
Yeah.
As we were walking, we actually parked right across the street from the venue. And it wasn't like, that you get this anticipation, this energy when you're going to a game. There was none of that. It was like we were walking into a wake. The place was packed.
It was.
There were people everywhere, but nobody was talking. Nobody was anticipating. Wow. We were going to a Kings game, and everybody was wearing Kobe jerseys. It was amazing. That Dave talked about a memorial that was going up in Toronto. The whole Xbox Plaza, if you look at my article, the main reason I wrote the article is to put up some of the pictures I took because it was really amazing. Every screen in the plaza had a picture of Kobe and his daughter on it. There were flowers and jerseys and sneakers and artwork and basketballs and stuff everywhere, not only filling up the Xbox Plaza, but encircling the Staples Center. It was just purple. And And we were talking about people taking advantage of those in mourning. All the street vendors were selling their T-shirts. Some very nice, well done. Some in very poor taste. People were selling flowers. So if you wanted to have flowers to put down, there were guys setting up there with flowers with bouquets you could buy, and then bring them over and put them down on the ground.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, it was people taking advantage of fans.
Yeah.
So very strange. I won't get into the Kings tribute. I won't get into the Clippers tribute. You can check out any number of websites, including ours.
They were very well done. I will say that.
The Kings is very understated. They had Bob Miller talk for a little bit, and they did a moment of silence. That was really all they did. Usually, I guess, they block off, like, you got the Kings banners up on the top on one side. You got the Lakers banners up on the other side. The poor Clippers don't have anything. You can't even tell they live there. They usually block off the Lakers things, I guess. They blocked everything off except for Kobe's 2 retired jerseys.
Wait, hold on a second.
Yeah.
So the Sixers and the Flyers are two different ownerships that play in the same building. They do not block off either of their banners.
They don't do that in most arenas.
But in LA, they'll block the other ones off when a team's playing?
I don't think the Lakers and Kings do, but I think the Clippers do.
Okay. Yeah, okay, that I understand. I just wanted to make sure. Okay, I was going to say.
Well, I know this at MetLife Stadium during a Jet game, you cannot enter the Giants, Hall of Fame.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Door. It's this door that opens up and closes once a game starts, and
just
the Jets
implode that stadium with the ownerships in it, and send them back to New York.
The Jets do have a Super Bowl trophy that they could display somewhere, and they have Hall of Famers and retired jerseys. Yet there's nothing like that there. That's why I think they should have their own stadium. That's why the Clippers are trying to build their own arena. Some people say it's already being built. I don't know if that's accurate.
You should go to another city that doesn't have a team. Try that.
Well, they make too much money in LA. Go to Kansas City. Go to Vancouver. I mean,
go to Kansas City. Hey, I hear Missouri needs a team.
You mean
go
Kansas?
to Kansas City, Kansas.
I'm above average.
It's tough to be the Clippers. You're not only a second-class citizen, you're a third-class citizen there. There's nothing in that arena.
I don't respect the Clippers. I'm a Sixers fan. I don't respect the Clippers.
Yeah. There are murals on the walls all over the concourses. Kings, Lakers, Hollywood stuff. There's even an LA Sparks mural. Nothing that says Clippers.
No wonder they want to leave.
Get out.
But see, that's what happens
Get
when you share a building.
That's amazing.
One team is always going to get a little more attention. It's just like when the Devils played at the Meadowlands. I felt like they wanted to make that very gender neutral. I mean, very neutral to all the teams there. Not gender neutral, but very neutral. So you didn't really see what you would see down in Philadelphia at the Spectrum or what you see at MSG or Nassau. Everything was just very vapid and plain. Okay, well, everybody plays their Seton Hall and the Nets. Let's not offend anybody with their banners or murals. I don't know.
Dave.
If you listen to the 30 for 30 podcast on Donald Sterling and the Clippers actually had the first shot at Staples Center, and they didn't want to go. And Sterling helped finance Jerry Buss by the Lakers, and they had the first shot at the Staples Center. They didn't want it, and then they ended up tailing in after. So it's, if you haven't had a chance, I mean, it's almost as good as the Stadium Journey podcast, but have a good look. Have a good listen to that one.
I'm not familiar with that. That sounds interesting because that team started in Buffalo, went to San Diego.
Almost
has
as
been
good
in
as
LA
Stadium.
for 35 years already.
Yep.
Go ahead,
we
Paul.
we took a side trip and drove down to where the LA Sports Arena used to be, which is now the Bank of California Soccer Stadium.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Right next to the Memorial Coliseum. Boy, the Memorial Coliseum is a dump.
It is.
Holy crap.
It's old.
Yeah. Old.
And then back in 1992, I was in LA and I wanted to go to a Laker game, but they were retiring Magic Johnson's number that day. So I couldn't go because the tickets were sold out. And so I decided to go to a Clipper game. at the sports arena. And they were doing really well that year. I think Rick Manning, not Rick Manning. Who's the guy from Kansas
Yeah,
that went over to the? Is it Rick Manning?
it was Manning, not Rick. Rick Manning was a baseball player.
Yeah,
Danny.
Danny
Manning. He was doing really well, and the Clippers were on fire. So those tickets became hard to find, but I was able to get a ticket, and yeah, it was this small little arena that I want to go to the Laker game. I didn't want to see the stupid Clippers, but once again, just a special ceremony going on, and I got diverted over to the Clippers. Danny Manning. Okay, thank you. Little brain freeze there.
Paul.
Yeah, so to wrap up the Staples Center, kind of underwhelmed by it. I didn't think it was a fantastic venue. I think it was a middle-of-the-road plane. It didn't do anything spectacular. I expected big, extravagant Hollywood entertainment. Didn't really get it. A little bit of a light show, especially for the Clippers. The Clippers try harder than the Kings, that's for sure, to entertain. They have to.
We try harder. Well, they have a good team this year. They may get that banner.
They do.
Get that banner up there. They haven't
Where
won
would they
anything,
put it,
right?
though?
But I mean, have they won any division titles?
Nothing. They have.
Nothing.
They've been in existence. How long did you say? 50 years or so.
1970 was
They
their
have made the
first year.
playoffs 7 times. Never advanced to the second round.
Oh, that made me laugh.
Wow.
All right, Paul.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's the Staples Center, and then we really quick to wrap up. We concluded our trip with a trip down to Anaheim. We spent the day at Santa Monica Beach and Venice Beach. Don't go to Venice Beach.
No.
I got a
No.
contact guy just walking down the boardwalk. Woo.
Oh, that's.
Oh yeah, Venice Beach is. Venice Beach looks the same.
Hold on. Let's not be
Years ago.
hasty. That's not really a problem.
No, it wasn't the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
And I did see a couple girls roller skating in bikinis, so that was all right too.
Yeah, roller. It's good,
but-
some good sidewalk entertainment.
The point was, from Venice Beach to Anaheim, which is a 40-minute drive, took me 2.5 hours. So
Oh yeah, traffic.
LA,
on-
LA traffic is real, man.
You got to get up around 8 o'clock to beat that, 10 o'clock
Only-
to beat that
only-
traffic.
Only takes me 2 minutes at GTA.
Oh, it's horrible, the traffic. I was there in 2017, and you're right that we did Venice Beach to Anaheim. It took forever. We had to get off and find side streets, and that took even longer. We should have just stayed on 95, I think.
Yeah. So went to the Honda Center to catch the Ducks, and the Ducks were playing the Lightning. The Lightning doing the California trip, and nobody helped us. The Kings lost, the Ducks lost, all the home teams lost while we were there. So California will not welcome us back again. But the security check at the Honda Center. I was doing a stadium journey review, so I bring my camera with me because I don't want to take 100 pictures on my cell phone. So this is my camera I bring in. Little point and shoot guide.
Oh,
They
come
would
on. They
not-
didn't give you a hard time.
They would not let me bring it in.
What?
They would not let me bring this little camera in
Why?
because it has video capabilities. And I said,
Oh.
don't you realize my phone has better video capabilities than this old 1995 camera I'm holding?
Are you kidding me here? Jeez. Everybody's
So I had to
cell
walk back
phone
to the
takes
parking lot
better
with respect to
video.
the car.
I mean, my goodness. You're
Exactly.
not even. You're
They
right.
want
That's
that.
an old phone you have. That's an old camera there.
Yeah.
So you
So
had to
that-
go
that-
back to your car.
So that set the evening off on a wonderful note. Honda Center, if you guys have, I don't know if you guys have been there.
I was there in 2000.
Very
2000.
attractive looking arena. The concourses are very nice. They're clean. They're open. They're bright. A lot of different things to eat. Great pro shop as you'd expect from the Mighty Ducks or the regular Ducks. They did have a lot of Mighty Ducks merchandise, which is kind of cool. The arena inside, nothing spectacular. Much roomier than the Staples Center. Staples Center had the smallest, the most uncomfortable seats I've ever sat in this side of Washington. The seats were horrible. And it ate my wallet. I thought I lost my wallet. I got up and the seats were so tight to squeeze out, it actually squeezed the wallet out of my pocket like some toothpaste. I was like, oh crap, my wallet's gone, but we found it in the chair. Anaheim, the team is down, so it wasn't much of an atmosphere. The fans were there, but not really into it, not loud. But it was a nice facility, nice enough. Again, I've been to half of the NHL now. This is just middle of the pack for me. And then last night, I was at the Bean Pot. I will save the Bean Pot discussion for next time because the Bean Pot finals are next Monday. So that was my trip, my California trip. It was a lot of fun. Got to see a lot of places. And we toured Dodger Stadium. Dodger Stadium's pretty cool, I'm going to say. I'd love to catch a game there. So it was a good trip. Glad to be home. Not glad that I'm sitting in 40-degree weather now instead of 80. So that wraps all of our trips up. Jeez, good thing we didn't have a guest on this week because we just talked about visits for an hour.
Well, no, I kind of like doing episodes like this because, you know, there are those times where a lot of us have been someplace and I feel like we don't get a chance to kind of explain or elaborate or go off topic like we did because we have a guest coming on. We don't want to be on here for 2 hours. So, yeah, I do enjoy these type of episodes.
Yeah, me too. I will be honest. So we will get together again in 2 weeks. And, Dave, we do have a guest coming in. I forget who we got coming in.
Our next podcast, we have Mike Farwell, who is the radio voice of the Kitchener Rangers, and we're going to talk some OHL hockey, maybe a little CHL hockey. We'll see. We'll see how expanded he wants to get there.
Nice. We'll show him the Prince Albert Raiders logo and see what.
No, never. No, nope, no.
Hey, the AHL All-Star game next year is in Laval, so I will incorporate some Quebec League games up there.
There you go.
There you go. Finally.
Yes, sir. So, Mark, Mark, why not you first? Where can our listeners follow you, and what do you have planned for the upcoming 2 weeks?
You can follow me at Ballpark Hunter. That's on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. I do have plans to check out Chicago State University. Also, the Valpo Crusaders are going to update the review on them. And those are the two that I have right now. There'll probably be some high school venues, too. I just have to see which ones work out. I think Indian Hills High School, which is about an hour away from here, I might check out as well. So I'll keep you up to date on where I am. Find my reviews on Facebook. I'm sorry, not Facebook. Yeah, you can follow me on Facebook as well, but it's not Ballpark Hunter. It's Mark Fiquez. So I'm not too hard to find. So come look for me.
Mark Fiquez is out there?
There's a lot. I got into an argument on Twitter with somebody about the halftime show, but that's another story for another day. So, yeah, I'm easy to find, and if you don't find me, I'll find you. So how about we do that?
Dan, where can our listeners follow you online?
You can follow me on Twitter you follow me on all social media platforms at DanLaw83. I did not argue about the halftime show because I don't give a damn what anybody thinks about it.
Yeah!
I don't know. All I gotta say about the halftime show is Jennifer Lopez is my age. Holy crap.
Yeah. All I can say about the halftime show is thank you.
Dave, you got any trips planned for the next fortnight? And where can our listeners follow you online?
We're playing Fortnite?
Definitely not playing Fortnite.
Weeks, right? Fortnite means 2 weeks, though.
Oh.
Not playing Fortnite. We are headed towards the playoffs. So regular season wrapping up in OUA basketball. So we got some Laurier Golden Hawks again. Heading to Windsor to put together a review for the Windsor Lancers, also of OUA. And then we're doing Jackson's Christmas trip, and we're heading to Paul Baker country. So,
woo, I forgot that was next weekend.
Yeah. So we've got Harvard Crimson Hockey on the Friday, and then the Boston triple header. Well, actually, Boston Providence triple header. So we got Northeastern Huskies basketball, Boston College Eagles hockey, and then Providence Friars basketball on Saturday. And then heading back towards the Great White North, we're going to stop in Hartford to check out some Yukon Huskies. And you can follow all of that on Twitter and Instagram at ProFan9.
And Dave's coming to my neighborhood, and I'm not going to spend any time with him. I'm going to be a bad host. Over the next weekend, I will be, well, actually this weekend, the NWHL All-Star Game is coming to Boston, so I'll be working that. And then the Beanpot Finals are Monday night, so I will be sleep-deprived once we record again, I guess. And next Friday, it's actually Valentine's Day as well. And what says romance better than a Providence Bruins game? So we'll follow it up with dinner on Federal Hill, so I'll make it up to Pam that way. And let's see, the Saturday is the Boston Pride's home finale. And then Sunday, I may go to Hartford with Dave and check out UConn basketball at the XL Center You can follow my Stadium Journeys, Twitter, Instagram at PuckmanRI. And please check out our website, stadiumjourney.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Stadium Journey. Stadium Journey podcast and HIAC's other podcasts, wrestling and everything else Dan does. Dan is probably the most prolific podcaster out there. We're at thebradyhicks.com. You can follow, you can watch, you can follow him, you can watch him, do whatever you want to him. HIAC's podcast on YouTube at youtube.com/danlaw83. And Dan, you got the twitch.tv/danlaw83 channel also, right?
I do. A video game and stream the podcast there, and please follow. I'm not asking for money yet.
And HIAC Talk Radio is on Twitter at HIAC Talk Radio.